All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're jumping right into implementation number 6, why AI operations matter after launch. Organizations pour so much time, blood, sweat, and budget into getting an AI system live. But what happens the literal day after? That's exactly what we're unpacking today. Why that precise moment is where the real work actually begins, and how you can avoid the slow, invisible degradation that plagues so many new systems.
Let's kick things off with a sobering thought, one that really should fundamentally reframe how you look at your project timeline. The AI that launched is never the AI that stays. The question is whether anyone is watching. Think about traditional software for a second. You deploy it, and 6 months later, it's pretty much the exact same application. But AI is a totally different beast. It lives in a highly dynamic environment. Your business evolves, your data shifts, your workflows adapt. Because of all that, the system itself morphs. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is anyone actually watching it?
There's this huge, almost comical contrast between what we expect and what actually happens. On one side, you have the go-live assumption. It's this amazing, high-energy milestone. The build team gives each other high fives, hands over the keys, and the business just kind of assumes the AI is going to run itself on autopilot. But man, the reality hits completely differently. All that launch energy just fizzles out. As your business naturally shifts gears and your data changes, the AI's outputs start getting just a tiny bit less accurate. Handoffs get clunky, and because there are no loud alarms going off, this degradation is totally invisible. Your investment is literally just leaking value, drop by drop. And look, we have the hard data to back this up. A 2026 Gartner survey looked at over 700 infrastructure and operations leaders. The results? Honestly, kind of alarming. Only 28% of AI use cases actually hit their ROI expectations. Just 28. 20% flat out fail. But the scariest part isn't the total failures. It's that massive 52% chunk sitting right in the middle. That's the underperforming gray area. These aren't systems that blew up overnight. These are the quiet drifters. Systems that went live, people had access to them, and then, without any drama at all, they just started churning out worse and worse results. Nobody noticed because nobody was on watch duty.
Now, even though that survey focused on infrastructure and ops folks, the big takeaway here applies across the board. The data makes it crystal clear. The AI projects that actually win long-term are the ones heavily tied to continuous integration, serious business support, and massive upfront prep. The value of your AI doesn't just magically appear at the launch party. It comes from how well you support and tune that system inside your daily messy operations. It's absolutely not a one-and-done maintenance chore. It is a continuous, living discipline.
So what's actually causing this slow, painful performance dip? Well, it essentially boils down to 3 super common but totally avoidable systemic failures. Number 1, treating go live like it's the absolute finish line. The budget dries up, the project plan ends, and the build team scatters. Number 2, having absolutely no post-launch monitoring plan. Zero tracking of KPIs out there in the wild. And number 3, having no named operational owner. And honestly, I want to zero in on that last one for a second, because it's a huge deal. I want you to pause and genuinely ask yourself right now, who owns your AI? Seriously, think about it. The dev team built it, but they're long gone, already on to the next big thing. The business team is just using it every single day to get their jobs done. So who actually owns it? Who is on the hook for its accuracy, its output, and making sure it stays completely in sync with your business rules today? If you can't immediately point to a specific person or team, your AI is sitting in a massive ownership gap. And as we all know, in business, ownership gaps don't just sit there. They compound into very expensive liabilities. Here is the absolute crux of the issue. AI is fundamentally not static. It's a moving target. As your workflows shift and your data naturally evolves, the gap between that perfect, pristine test environment and the messy, real-world live environment starts to crack wide open. Without a dedicated operations game plan, performance is going to dip. It's inevitable. And the real kicker? By the time things get bad enough for end users to actually start complaining, the system has probably been running off the rails for weeks. So, how do we stop the drift? We have to completely flip our mindset from reactive to proactive. Let's talk about what good actually looks like. Instead of just sitting around waiting for angry IT tickets, you build in a structured post-launch optimization rhythm. Check this out. At 30 days, you run an initial formal review just to make sure the AI is doing exactly what it was built to do. At 60 days, you're checking the surrounding workflows. Are they actually holding up? And by day 90, you're not just doing CPR, you're proactively identifying high-value upgrades. This right here is how you actually lock in the ROI of your investment. To hit those 30, 60, and 90-day marks, any mature business needs a rock-solid, documented ops framework. You've got to clearly define what you're actually monitoring. We're talking output quality, confidence levels, user adoption. You need to nail down exactly who is doing the monitoring, which completely solves that dangerous ownership gap we just talked about. You absolutely must have an escalation path for when things eventually do start degrading. And finally, you need a bulletproof process for handling change requests, like adding new data sources, so you can tweak the system without blowing up the parts that are already working perfectly.
Let's put this into perspective by comparing the typical industry standard against the Omnisenti standard. Usually, operations are completely ignored until something catches fire. Monitoring gets slapped together in a total panic, and nobody wants to claim ownership. But the Omnisenti standard? It treats post-launch ops as a fundamental piece of the delivery, not some optional add-on you buy when things break. The monitoring is baked in before launch. They provide managed performance reviews, safe change handling, and most importantly, they make sure there is a named operational owner right out of the gate so your system keeps delivering value.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to bring us right back to where we started. The AI that launched is never the AI that stays. If you flipped the switch on your system and just assumed it would run itself forever, now is the time to rethink that strategy. If you are ready to finally close that ownership gap, make sure someone is actually watching the store, and protect your investment, reply operations to start the conversation with the Omnisenti team. But I'll leave you with one final kind of unsettling thought. If your business is evolving every single day and your AI is left completely alone, unmonitored, in the dark, whose business is it actually learning to run? Think about that for a second. We'll catch you in the next explainer.